അലങ്കരിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത് കാണാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വന്നതാണ്. 7 മണിയായിട്ടുള്ള നിൽപ്പാണ്. 1 മണിയായിട്ടും ക്യൂ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പം വോട്ടിങ് അലങ്കരിച്ച് അവർ പെണ്ണുങ്ങളാണ് വോട്ട് ഓടിക്കുന്നത്. ആ കാഴ്ച കാണാനായിട്ട് ഞങ്ങളും വന്ന് ടിക്കറ്റ് എടുത്ത് വന്നില്ല. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും കൂടെ പോയി ഒന്ന് എൻജോയ് ചെയ്യാം. പാ
Everybody say, hey, Captain Mitch. You guys ready to go? All righty, have a seat, please. Get up in your seat. There you go. All righty, y'all have a great time. Bring my boat back a little bit, will you? You want me to drive? Go? All right. Seat or a lap throughout our tour. They can, however, place outside the boat. Just remember, do not reach beyond the wooden rail. Finally, in the unlikely event we start taking on water, we do have flotation devices for everybody on this boat. But if you have to find yourself out of my boat and in our water, your next course of action is probably going to be standing up and walking out of the San Antonio River. On average, the river is only 4 foot deep. You can literally walk from one side to the other, not get your cell phone all wet. So is everybody still ready to go? Hello? Everybody ready to go? For millennia, this area was known as Yanaguana, the place of clear, peaceful water. Do any of you know how it came to be known as San Antonio? Well, it's correct that oversight and the otherwise well-rounded educational experience. As we come out from this pedestrian bridge, if you look immediately to our starboard or right side up on the river sidewalk level, we're going to see an 8-foot-tall bronze statue of St. Anthony of Padua, a 12th century Portuguese saint whose feast day is June the 13th. It was on June the 13th, 1691, that Father Damien Massenet celebrated the first Mass in this area. Because June the 13th is the feast day of San Antonio de Padua, we've been known as San Antonio for much ever since, at least from a European perspective. Just a reminder, please remain seated throughout our tour. Don't try to touch anything outside the boat. That includes the bridges. Some of them have very sharp edges. They'll cut you, and they're going to laugh while you're bleeding. Hello. Ahead of us, the Hilton Palacio del Rio Hotel, a 500-room hotel built in preparation for the 1968 World's Fair. That is a historic building. You see, the original contractor had gone bankrupt. Within a year though of the day of the World's Fair, construction had not begun on that huge building. Well, Conrad Hilton, one of those rooms, San Antonio needed them, so they went looking for someone who could build a huge building in an even bigger hurry. The HP Zachary Company, a local construction firm, said, we'll build it for you. Not only that, we'll have it ready in time for the World's Fair, but if we don't, you pay us $1, we'll be absolutely even. Well, Conrad Hill knew a good thing when he heard it, begged the contract in July 1967. The HP Zachary Company came on site and started building the first 4 floors, including elevator shafts. At the same time, about 7.5 miles south of San Antonio, the construction yard set up. They poured concrete in the forms they had there. With the concrete through, they removed the forms. There were the rooms. They painted those rooms, put carpet down, beds in the carpet, sheets on the beds, benches on the pillows. On the wall, lamps, the nightstand, bulbs, the lamps, soap with the dishes, they hung towels in the racks. Had those rooms entirely kitted out, ready to go, with the exception of the televisions. Because some of us are old enough to remember back then when televisions were about the size of a Buick. But nonetheless, they still left those rooms, put them on a flatbed truck, and brought them up here. Over the next 42 days, the help of a crane with a huge panel of actually precisely seat exactly where they needed to go, Each of those 500 rooms, very much like Legos, they completed the Palacio del Rio Hotel in 202 working days, start to finish.
അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങൾ അങ്ങനെ പോവുകയാണേ. മഴവില്ലിന്റെ മനോഹാരിതയിൽ പാലത്തിന്റെ അടിയിൽ കൂടി വെനീസിലെ കാഴ്ചകൾ കണ്ട് ആസ്വദിക്കുന്ന ഓണത്തിന് ഞങ്ങളുടെ യാത്ര. നല്ല മനോഹരമായ യാത്ര, നല്ല മനോഹരമായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. മഴവില്ലിൽ തീർത്ത പാലത്തിന്റെ അടിയിൽ കൂടെ ഞങ്ങൾ അങ്ങനെ മനോഹരമായിട്ട് പോകുന്നു. നല്ല രസമുള്ള കാഴ്ച. സൈഡ് മുഴുവൻ റെസ്റ്റോറൻറ്റുകളും ഹോട്ടലുകളും കടകളുടെ എല്ലാം നടുവശത്ത് റിവറിന്റെ മുകളിൽ പാലം. നാല് വശത്തും കഴിക്കാൻ നാല് വശം നല്ല മനോഹരമാണ്. ഒത്തിരി സന്തോഷം തരുന്നൊരു കാഴ്ച. എല്ലാവരും കണ്ടോളൂ. അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും ബോട്ടുകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഈ ഒരു ടൗണിനെ ചുറ്റിയാണ് നമ്മൾ പോകുന്നത്. നാല് വശത്തും കടകളായി നിറഞ്ഞു. നാല് വശത്തും മരങ്ങൾ വെച്ച് പിടിപ്പിച്ച് അതിലെല്ലാം ലൈറ്റ് വിട്ട് ഹോട്ടലുകൾ എല്ലാ കടകളും ഒക്കെയായിട്ട് നല്ല മനോഹരമായ ഒരു കാഴ്ച. വെനീസിലെ കാഴ്ചകളൊന്നും കണ്ടിട്ടുള്ളൂ. ഇത് സാനിറ്റോണിയയിലെ വെനീസിന്റെ കാഴ്ചകൾ.
Go back on the Market Street Bridge. Ahead of us, you can see the Palacio del Rio Hotel. You can tell the difference. The first 4 floors are built on site, and then the rooms were put in a modern fashion. Half the rooms are 3.5 feet longer than their neighbors, just to make sure that each room has a private balcony. Each room weighs approximately 33 tons, is soundproof, fireproof, floodproof, and explosion-proof. Each day that it stands to make sure that absolutely no idea how long it would last. And like the first edition, that building turned 56 years old. This is the historic dock. It's the second of our docks.
10-15 ബോട്ടുകളുണ്ട്. ബർത്ത്ഡേ പാർട്ടി കഴിക്കുന്ന ഫാമിലിയായിട്ട് ഫുൾ ഒരു ബോട്ട് എടുത്ത് കറങ്ങുന്നു. എല്ലാം കൊണ്ടും നല്ല മനോഹരമായിട്ടുള്ള കാഴ്ച. മുഴുവൻ മരങ്ങളാണ്. മരങ്ങൾ മുഴുവൻ ഡെക്കറേറ്റ്. വാഴ നിൽക്കുന്ന കണ്ടോ? വാഴ.
Now, this is La Villita, the little village in 1722. San Antonio was organizing itself. That had been a Native American gathering spot for centuries. So when the Spanish and then the Mexican, eventually the German and the French settlers came, they settled into La Villita. When we'll move on to other parts of San Antonio, you can still see their influence, their architecture there. During the siege, the Alamos sent to Ana a cannon line of La Villita. For 12 days of that 13-day siege, those cannons were never silent. La Villita is now a haven for artisan craftsmen that ply their trade and serve the wisdom that confines that very unique section of downtown that includes the Artisan River Theater, an 800-seat amphitheater with seating on the left, stage on the right, finished in 1941 by the Works administration. As we go around the front of the stage, you can look behind the stage, you're going to see 5 bells, one for each of the missions that make up the World Heritage Site here in San Antonio. On the World Heritage Site in Texas, one of 23 in the nation. That middle bell is dedicated to Robert Huffman. He was 27 when he started drawing plans for this park, and in 1980 he was recognized as genius, and then he became the father of the Riverwalk. Kodak moment coming up. Some of you are old enough to remember what I'm talking about. Others means get your cameras ready. The trees here look like they are raining color. The sculpture in front of us, Coming Home to Briscoe, which in homage to the time the San Antonio was a cow town. At one time there were an estimated 4 million unbranded or maverick Texas longhorn cattle running around. If you wanted to get in the cattle business, all you had to do was go out, round up a herd, put your brand on them, and there you have it. The Art Deco building in front of us, is the Briscoe Western Art Museum. That building opened in 1930 as the second home to the Free Public Library. The library moved downstream in 68. The Briscoe opened in 2013. Its name was on the lake over First Lady Janie Briscoe.
ഇവിടുത്തെ ഒരു വലിയൊരു ആഘോഷമാണ്. കുതിരവണ്ടി ഇങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നത്. എല്ലാവരും കയറി അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും നടന്ന്
San Antonio is home to 4 of the fuel maintenance cast iron bridges in the nation. We're going to go on to the one right here at Preston Street, the cast iron Rosetta Bridge. This bridge was built in 1890s Berlin, Connecticut. Berlin Iron Company, East Berlin, Connecticut to be exact. Not the first railway you find of that structure. It's put together with rivets, nuts, bolts, and chicken wire. A few moments ago, we talked about Father Damien Massenet celebrating the first Mass this year. 13 June 1691. That didn't actually happen on this little island with the sculpture on the island is Massenet's island. That sculpture is Massenet's table. That wonderful heart-shaped island is actually the root ball for that cypress tree. Because it's heart-shaped, we've nicknamed that island Marriage Island, as we have about 300 weddings a year that take place there. It's said if you get married on Marriage Island that there's luck in your union. I have one friend that's tried that 4 different times, that particular island. He now runs around San Antonio saying, remember the alimony. This Navarro Street Bridge covered part of the San Antonio River, known as the Old Mill Crossing, and for years it was the widest as well as the shallowest part of the San Antonio River, so it's the most easily to ford. Ahead port, beautiful red sandstone building, a Romanesque Bible architecture, the Bexar County Courthouse, opened in 1897. From that day to this, it's been the seat of law and justice for the people of Bexar County. It stands on the main plaza of the original town square of San Antonio. Also on the main plaza is San Fernando Cathedral, whose cornerstone was laid in 1731. To our port, 404 feet to the base of that flagpole, 30-story tall, neo-Gothic architecture of the Tower of Life building. When it was being constructed in the 20s, it was known as the Smith-Young building. The builders wanted protection against bad luck and against bad business, so they put gargoyles around the top 2 tiers of the octagon-shaped tower. And grotesque between the first and second stories here on our left. At a cost of $3 million, it's been opened on June 1st, 1929. A mere 5 months later, October 29th, 1929, the stock market crashed. So much for the good luck. The builders were overextended to build this building, as well as other investments, could not pay the taxes they came due. So much for the good business. Therefore, that building sold at auction for those back taxes and brought in about 10 cents on the dollar. Please have a seat. Boats on our right, those are caroling boats. Groups will negotiate with the Port Authority, the River Authority, for those boats to be carried out for about an hour and sing carols. I think Mary. Come out on the St. Mary's Street Bridge on our right is the International Center, finished in 1968. Modern architecture, third to the Public Library. Resident and apt offices for Canada, Mexico, and the United States. There's a restaurant on the first floor, and at river level, that is our old marina. We have about 18 of our 43 boats moored in that location. Before we go to the plug and choke channel, I have to make sure that nobody's coming in as we're going out, and also have to announce our exit from the horseshoe section of San Antonio River. That gives you a chance to look back over my left shoulder. Notice that the Tower of Life building looks remarkably like a ship setting sail into the river. That was by design, and that the builders expected their future to be as bright as the past they left behind. Well, we know the end of that story. They went bankrupt, lost the building, the rest of their fortune in the tax auction. Because of those unfortunate events, it is now rumored that the Tower of Life building may, in fact, be haunted. Some folks reported, having listened very carefully, actually being able to hear the sound of a ship's horn. Y'all heard that, right? Yeah. I hate to be the only one hearing things this late in the evening. It makes my awful uneasy when that happens. Entering into the plug and choke channel through floodgate 4. We're in a flooding situation. This gate would come up to the bottom of the river to protect downtown San Antonio. As we turn north, if you look south about 200 yards, you'll see flood control dam number 5. The flood control channel, gates, and dam were all built in response to the 1941 flood that saw floodwaters reach 8 feet above street level, about 25 feet from where we are right now. But since these flood control measures have been put in place, San Antonio has not suffered another devastating flood. And we may not turn left to go on the plug control dam because it's a 15-foot drop from this part of the river to the next part of the river. And my supervisors have absolutely no sense of adventure. As we're in the Plug and Show channel, I want to take this opportunity to recognize and to say thank you to any active duty retired military personnel who had to be on my boat. That includes their families, those who completed their terms of service, as well as first responders. So as we come out of the Market Street Bridge, if you enjoy a round of applause, those individuals at one time raise their right hands who will know, protect, and defend the nation to serve their fellow man. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. God's way to protect your future endeavors, whatever those may be. On our right, the Drury Plaza Hotel, that building over the 1929 Alamo National Bank building. The Drury was renovated in 2007, kept the beautiful limestone facade on the outside. And also built this 50-foot pedestrian bridge that connects the Riverwalk to the main plaza. As we come out below the pedestrian bridge, if you look to our port, on the left side, slightly back through main plaza, you'll be able to catch a glimpse of San Fernando Cathedral, cornerstone laid in 1731. Still a very active congregation. Just check the website, the time that the building's open, when stuff got to join us, well, let's worship. We did know that stood there on December the 7th, 1835, during the rebellion by the Texicans of the Tejanos against the Mexican state. On that date, the Mexican national sniper in the branch of that tree and shot Ben Milam, one of the leaders of the rebellion, who had to be in a courtyard approximately where the Hampton Inn now stands. Mr. Milam lost his life. Since that time, that tree has been known as the Ben Milam tree. Reentering the original main channel of the San Antonio River through Plug and Show gate number 3. And as we come through gate 3 ahead of us, we're going to see a shorter whitewashed limestone block building. That is the Esquire Tavern. That is the oldest tavern on the river. The longest wooden bar top in Texas at 108 feet long. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, they can put 5,976 long neck beer bottles on that bar top. Somebody needs a new hobby. Look downstream over St. Mary's Bridge. It looks like a galaxy of twinkling lights. Now, folks, I have the privilege of driving in this park frequently over the last 7 years. Every day, it is a work of beauty. When the lights come on, there's magic in the air. Would anybody like to guess how many lights there are on the Riverwalk? Now, I'm going to give you a hint. It's less than 1 million. 100,000. Just a little over, actually, 100,000. 2,200 strands of LED lights. They start hanging up the day after Labor Day. And then they're working pretty much right up until the time of the big parade the day after Thanksgiving. Now, it'll be on until January the 7th, and then it'll take 6 to 12 weeks to take down, and every light has to be tested every summer. On the right, the Aztec Theater, finished in 1926. Mesoamerican architecture cost of $1.75 million. In today's money, that's about $30 million for a solid movie house. It's been totally renovated, now a venue for live music and live theater. It is the third of our 3 docks. Now, folks, you seem to be right here on the dock, right here on our right. See these folks waiting for their turn? These are actually tourists in their native habitat. That's what tourists look like in case you've never seen them in person. These are wild tourists, by the way, so make sure you don't make eye contact. How many of you are fans of, or at least familiar with the Tejano singer by the name of Selena? You have any Selena fans? You can see coming down the river after dark. Things you never again cannot see if you feel it. 16 stories is much shorter than many other hotels in the area. We're at any taller at a certain time of the year would cast a shadow on the Alamo. San Antonio has an ordinance preventing any village from casting a shadow on the Alamo. Land is up at 16 stories, then comes down on the lobby and the atrium. If you look off the left side of both of those glass doors and glass walls into the lobby, you'll be able to see some of the water features that are reminiscent of the Acequia 36. One of the newest species of public art here in San Antonio, this is Stargazer Sea Lolly, made from blocks of volcanic ash mined in Mexico. She is gazing at and through a marble star. Recently, somebody asked the artist why the star was so small. He said, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Notice her hand. It's almost a near perfect 0, which is pretty much the chance of the Chicago Bears ever winning another Super Bowl. I used to say the Cowboys, but people started threatening. Headed into the River Center section of the man-made extension, finished in 1988, so it's the newest part of the man-made extension, but it's not the newest part of the Riverwalk.
Duck.
This is the Go Rio Doctor at River Center. That's where I picked you up. Well, folks, looks like we made the big circle. As we come out of the lagoon, we're going to be right back at the River Center dock. That's where our adventure began. Please remain seated. I'll get us firmly tied back in the dock. Look around you to make sure you brought it with you. Take it with you. Hats, coats, scarves, glasses, trash, drink receptacles, sunglasses, and cameras. Small children, spouses, grandparents, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, in-laws, outlaws, and of course those beloved ex-laws. Were you to